Hey guys, how's it going? This is Bryce Lewis with Strength Athlete. This video will serve to chat a little bit about the Arnold and about my experience there. I let some training footage run, and also chat a little bit about my experience so far working with a mental performance coach, or in other words, a sports psychologist. But first, I'll start off with the Arnold. It was an awesome experience overall. I got to meet a ton of great people, coaches, trainers, and athletes that I've really only had a chance to chat with online and have seen for the first time in person. But as far as the competition overall, it was a very underwhelming experience as far as performance goes. And my goals weren't really very lofty at this competition, at least. You know, I was expecting to total similar to what I told in December at a local meet here on the national stage, and just better or best my performance, I guess, at the lower weight class. But you know, what ended up happening is I got too involved in what other lifters were capable of doing, possibility of placing, wrapped up in the details and things that I normally wouldn't really think about all too much. Ended up kind of dominating my thoughts and anxiety, some of that fight or flight response, really creating a totally different environment of competition and of trying to perform than what I'm used to in the environments that I usually perform best at. So, you know, for comparison, the environments that I usually perform best at are relaxed environments with a few friends, with some good music on, and you know, just a nice training environment. In fact, Barbell Brigade twice has been the location for two of my lifetime PRs on the deadlift, a 720 deadlift in January of 2014, and last year, later on, a 725 deadlift, along with my best squat overall and my best bench overall. You know, no hullabaloo, you know, no crazy amping up or anything like that, just a relaxed environment. And, you know, we get to chat a little bit more about the optimal arousal state for competition, exactly what that is. I think it's different for a lot of people. Some people can perform really well, you know, when they sniff ammonia, when they've got, you know, heavy metal music playing in the background, and when, you know, someone slaps them a few times across the face before they get into the bar. That may work for you, but that doesn't work for everyone. So there's definitely a different optimal arousal state necessary to perform. But whatever that state is, you have to have some kind of consistency. You have to be able to hit that state in training and also hit it in competition. What happens to be the case is that we assign meaning to different competitions, even though a competition is just another competition. We assign specific meaning to specific competitions. So for instance, I had a local meet in December that I didn't assign a very special meaning to, because it was a stopping point in training, and because it was a state level competition and I consider myself a national level athlete. And because, you know, I had assumed, I guess, that there weren't really going to be very many people to compete against, that it was just going to be about me. And that's kind of the way that it should always feel, like it's just about you and about besting your own performance. So, you know, when I get to the Arnold and I get to compete in the same weight class and in the same event flight with guys like Lane, LS, McLean, John Downing, Josh Hancock were there, just an all-star list of athletes, and it was phenomenal to see them. But it's unfortunate that I wasn't able to put up a performance to match what I am normally capable of. So as far as results go, I think I went 5 for 9 on the day. I made my first squat, missed my second and third squats, made my first and second bench press and missed my third, and made my first and second deadlift and missed my third. So, you know, not the best performance overall. The very next day I got in another training session and was able to make my third deadlift, just because I was angry and wanted to hit it, so I did. But you know, it should be a learning experience, and that's what I turned it into. And I was lucky enough to be able to talk to my coach, Eric Helms, who put me in contact with David Neath, a mental performance coach who lives in New Zealand. and we got to chatting a little bit, and he'll soon be integrated a little bit more thoroughly into TSA, and working with some of our athletes on a more regular basis. But he's just full of great information, and probably over the course of some next training videos, I'd love to share some of that with you guys, because I don't feel that I'm alone in feeling this way, or in trying to find the right way to transition effectively from local level competition to national level competition. This isn't to say this is the first time I've ever competed at that level either. In volleyball, I've competed at the national level as well, though on the club side. So we were doing national tournaments and individual game tournaments. So I've been able to operate under stress. I'm just trying to find a way to develop that consistency when it comes to powerlifting. What's interesting though is that, well, at least to realize that there are real physiological changes that take place in response to stressors. So if you find yourself in a situation where you get that feeling of fight or flight, anxiety, stress, it goes under many different words. There's a lot of different biological reactions associated with that. We see cotton mouth, increased need to urinate, increased need to go to the bathroom, elevated heart rate, elevated blood pressure, varied thoughts, not being able to focus very often, being a little bit myopic, and just not being able to think clearly. So all of these are typical fight or flight responses, and there's plenty more. And in fact, there's a great researcher, who I can't remember the name of, I'm sure it'll come to me in just a minute, who talks about stress in the modern world, but more in the context of chronic stress. But he has some good information about what this response is. But anyway, that response is probably the not normal response that you encounter when you're just training in the gym. So what we're really looking for is consistency and managing that physiological response when you end up trying to transition to a competitive environment where one single rep matters a lot. But, it's important to notice that the meaning that you place on competitions is meaning that you alone place on competitions, and that you can manage these physiological responses. That's at least, I think, a starting place. That this isn't something that you're stuck with necessarily, and the fact that you're experiencing a stress response is a good thing. It means that you're involved in the sport that you want very badly to do well, and it's normal. And it's normal that lots of athletes feel this way. But you don't have to be stuck necessarily with the negative consequences of those feelings. So as long as you learn to manage the situation, based off of your own specific needs, I think you can come to a better performance in competition. That's essentially what I'm trying to do before the next competition rolls around. So I've been working with kind of a few affirmations, and I guess one of them that I'll try to kind of leave on is the idea of I give myself permission to be great. And it feels really powerful to me. And this is something that David Neath told me in one of our calls, and something that I'm going to put on my wall at some point. I give myself permission to be great. The idea of permission to perform, I think, is an interesting idea. And maybe, probably, I didn't give myself permission to perform, and instead I was fearful of messing up instead of focusing on what I could possibly be doing. So we can break this down a ton of different ways, and probably will. But generally, I like to figure out what's wrong, find a plan, attack it, and go forward. I don't like to wallow in things. So I found a plan, and we're going to go forward from here. Take care, guys. Lots more to come. Exciting stuff soon.